What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel, and today I have an updated Galaxy Eyes deck profile for you guys. Today, I'm gonna be honest, it may look, once you guys see the post on my Instagram of the deck list, you guys are gonna think it's the same. Yes and no. Yes, because I kept most of the monster lineup and most of the extra deck and most of the side deck. No, because I ended up taking a bunch of cards out. And I added a few new ones, and I realized these cards are actually fucking good. These cards are insanely good, and I figured, what the hell? Why not? I figured, you know what? Why not? So with that being said, hang on, guys. Okay. All right. I actually just realized that there's a card in here that actually can actually be a break in this deck. But anyway, it's I made the deck a little less bricky and a little more consistent. There's 42 cards in the main. I may end up cutting it down to 41 because there's a card in here that I realized might be a break. It just depends on how I see it. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. If you guys do enjoy it and you guys want to see more, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up and make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel and you have that notification bell turned on so you don't miss out on any new content that comes your way. And of course, as always, my Twitter and my Instagram are in the description below. The links will be down below in the description. And if you guys want to send fan mail, the info will also be in the description as well. Anyway, guys, let's get straight into it. First up, we have obviously 3 copies of Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. This is basically the bread and butter of the whole deck. If you don't have this card in your deck, you're not running Galaxy Eyes. I'm just keeping it real. You're not running Galaxy Eyes, plain and simple. Then, of course, you have 2 copies of Galaxy Eyes Afterglow Dragon. This is basically the standard, where you run 3 Photon and 2 Afterglow. If you run 3, it can actually, funny enough, oftentimes be a brick. It all just depends on how you see it. But this card and Photon Dragon, you can pretty much make any rank 8 XCs that you want. But what's even more cool is that Afterglow Dragon has an additional effect. Has a few effects. One of which is that this card acts as a Cipher Dragon, where in this case, if you have a Galaxy Eyes monster on board, you can just summon this card from your hand in defense mode, which again acts as a Cipher Dragon. There's another effect next to that text to that effect that reads, if this card is detached from an Xyz monster to activate that monster's effect, you can take a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your hand or deck and either special summon it or attach it to an Xyz monster you control as material. Then if you activate this effect during the battle phase, double the attack of all number Xyz monsters you control. So what's cool about this is that if you were to activate, let's say number 107, not only does it gain 4,000 attack, but by detaching Afterglow Dragon, Tachyon Dragon becomes 8,000 attack right off the bat, which is nutty, absolutely insane. A combo like that can just easily help you win games, easily. Then of course we've got the one copy of Galaxy Knight. I realized running 2 is actually a brick in this deck, but you're normally gonna be special summoning this card off of the effects of the Galaxy Expedition or the Galaxy Trance, depending on how you depending on the board state, if you will. But again, you can normal summon this card without a tribute. It just depends on how you see it. Then of course we got the 1 Galactic Spiral Dragon. This is only a 1 of because you can easily just bring this back from the graveyard over and over and over again just by using the monster, just by using this card as material for an Xyz summon. Because normally when you special summon this card from your hand or graveyard, once it leaves the field, it gets banished. Normally that would be the case, but with this card you bypass it just by using the monster as Xyz material really quickly, which is just insane. Then of course we've got the 2 copies of Schwarzschild Limit Dragon. This basically is Afterglow Dragon. It basically becomes a Cyber Dragon, which is pretty good, and it's a free summon, easy, no strings attached. Then of course, and then to round out the level 8, we have the 3 copies of Nebula Dragon, which is just absolutely insane. Not much else to say about this card. All this card does is you target this card in your hand and another level 8 dragon. You summon both in defense, and boom, you easily have one of your rank 8s. You can go into cards like number 90, number 107, number 38, Cipher Dragon, number 62 to easily win games. I would say you can go to full armor Photon, but of course 62, Cipher, 38, 107, and 90 are the only rank 8s that you would normally go into really quickly just off of Nebula Dragon. And then of course we have the Parsec, the Interstellar Dragon, 2 copies of this. This basically is a free normal summon without a tribute, just like Galaxy Knight. But the only difference is that this card is actually a generic level 8 dragon. So pretty much, if you have any level 8 monster, you can just normal summon this card without tributing. But with Galaxy Knight, you have to have a Photon or Galaxy monster on board. In which case, Photon Dragon, Afterglow, whatever, you know. So these dragons are basically the bread and butter of the entire deck. Now, as far as the cards that support it, we have 2 copies of Photon Vanisher. This card cannot be normal summoned. You cannot set it. You have to special summon it as long as you have a Photon or a Galaxy monster on board. And what's even more cool is that you can add Photon Dragon from your deck to your hand, so it acts as a Stratos for Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, which is really good. And what's even more crazy about this card is that if it was used as Xyz material, it gains the effect where it reads banish any monster destroyed by battle with this card. So if you were to use this card and, like, let's say I'll say Afterglow Dragon, and you summoned, we'll say number 107, rank it up into Neo Tachyon. Let's just say that. Neo Tachyon would gain the effect where any monster destroyed is banished instead. So it acts as a Dark Law of sorts, which is absolutely insane. Then we have 2 copies of Photon Orbital. This card is mainly used to go into to help go into the rank 8 plays. But if you normal summon it, you can go into cards like Starlight Photon Blast Dragon, Afterglow Dragon, Bujinki Hashima, or pretty much any like rank 8 that you have, as long as you have like Spiral Dragon on board. Because with Spiral Dragon, all the monsters that they have on board become level 8. So Spiral Dragon and Photon Orbital, you can make a rank 8. So with Photon Orbital, it's mainly in the deck as fodder for Xyz summoning. But what's even more cool is that if you equip it to a monster and you remove this card, you can actually add a Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand. So you have basically what? So you have what? 1, 2, 2 Stratos. You basically have 2 Stratos in the whole deck, which is absolutely insane. Excuse me. Then, of course, we have 2 copies of Galaxy Wizard. This card has 2 different effects. The first effect reads, once per turn, you can increase this card's level by 4 until the end of the turn. So basically, it can become a level 8, allowing you to go into rank 8 plays. Or you can tribute this card and add a Galaxy card from your deck to your hand, except this card, which you can add a Galaxy Expedition, Galaxy Trance, Galaxy Zero, or any of the Galaxy cards that you may have in the deck, which is absolutely nuts. Then I'm actually running 2 copies of a new card in this deck, of a new addition to this deck, and I was looking at this card, and I realized this card is actually really good. This card is good. It is nuts. It is known as Galaxy Cleric. If you have never seen this card before, it's a 4-star. It's a 4-star light spellcaster with 1500 attack, 600 defense, and it actually has a few effects. The first effect reads, if this card is in your hand, you can target 1 Photon or Galaxy monster you control, attach this card to it as material. The second effect reads, if this card is normal or special summon, you can target 5 Photon and or Galaxy cards with different names in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and draw 2. You can only use 1 effect of this card per turn, and only once that turn. Which is nuts. So what is this card basically? It's a Pot of Avarice. It's basically a Pot of Avarice, which is absolutely insane. This will help you go into even more plays to give you an even better board than you normally would have without this card, which is absolutely nuts. So not much else to say about that. And then to round out the monsters, we have I'm actually running 2 copies of Ash Blossom. Originally, I had this in the side. I decided to put this in the main solely because I wanted to have a way to stop my opponent from not only from comboing off, but also ensuring that my plays actually go through, which is really nuts. Then for the spells, there are only 11 spells in the deck. We have 2 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords. This basically is Monster Reborn with a protection added. So basically you target a level 7 or level 8 dragon in your grave and you summon it, plain simple. And if any of your dragons would be destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard and it's protected. All of your dragons are protected no matter what, which is absolutely nuts. Then of course I'm actually running not 3 but 2 copies, unfortunately, 2 copies of Photon Sanctuary. I know that a lot of decks prefer to run 3, but I decided to only run 2, mainly because you're not going to be doing a lot of link summoning with this deck. Even if you were to link summon, you're most likely going to go into Soulflare Dragon, which Tributary Photon Sanctuary basically gives you a free link summon turn 1, which is absolutely insane. So not much else to say about that. Then of course I am running Rank Up Magic Barion's Force. Because I've got the Tachyon Dragon, I've got to run the Neo Tachyon. Neo Tachyon is just a fucking house. I don't have anything else to say about that. Then of course we got the Galaxy Expedition. Only 1 copy though, because of the fact that you're not going to be, only because of the fact that you've got so many ways to special summon your Photon or Galaxy cards. You don't really need all that much extra gas, you know. So, but this card is pretty cool. So what the card does, it says if you control a level 5 or higher Photon or Galaxy monster, supposed to summon a level 5 or higher Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck in defense. So obviously, with this card, obviously the main card you're going to target is Galaxy Knight for the most part. Then of course we have the 1 Galaxy Trance. This card is kind of okay. It's kind of okay. I may end up cutting this out. I don't know if I will, but but its effect reads pay 2,000 life points, and then target a Photon monster in your grave. Special summon both it and the Galaxy monster from your deck with the same level, both in defense position. And if you do, each monster's attack becomes 2,000. Also, their effects are negated. You can only activate one Galaxy Trance per turn. You can normal summon or normal or special summon monsters during the turn you activate this card, except Photon or Galaxy monsters. So basically, you're not allowed to summon anything else that you have in your extra deck except Photon or Galaxy monsters. So cards like Soul Flare Dragon, Photon Blast Dragon, Photon Lord, Tachyon, Titanic Galaxy would be, I don't think it counts, honestly. Cipher Dragon, you are allowed to summon. But the other monsters that are in your extra deck, you're not going to be able to summon. Then, of course, we got the one Monster Reborn, because it's Monster Reborn. Galaxy Zero, one copy of Galaxy Zero, because this is basically Monster Reborn for your Photon or Galaxy monsters. And it's also an equip spell, which makes it even more interesting. But what's even more cool about this card is that if you were to have Spiral Dragon in graveyard, and you have Afterglow Dragon in hand, you would go activate Galaxy Zero, summon out Photon Dragon, special summon the Afterglow Dragon, special summon the Spiral Dragon from your hand, normal summon Parsec, and you instantly have 2 Xyz monsters right off the bat, which is just absolutely insane. And then to round out the spells, I'm assuming this might be a brick, so I might cut this out. Is Baryantopia. I actually use this. I actually have this card in the Shark deck, so I think I might. You know what? I think I will take it out because it doesn't really do a whole lot. So its effect reads: this card is always treated as a Baryons card. Your opponent cannot target Chaos Xyz monsters, Chaos number monsters, and number monsters with a number between 101 and 107 in their names. You control with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Once per turn, if you special summon an Xyz monster with a rank of magic spells effect, you can target that Xyz monster and one monster your opponent controls, attach the opponent's monster to the Xyz monster as material. So it's basically Baryon's Force, but on steroids. But I realize it's not that good, so I will take it out. I will take it out. So it's now become a 40 card deck. So I did take it out, so it's now 40 cards, but that pretty much rounds out the spells. You got the 2 Dragon Lords, the 2 Photon Sanctuary, the 1 Baryon's Force, the 1 Expedition, the 1 Trance, the 1 Reborn, and then the 1 Galaxy Zero. For the traps, though, there's a pretty decent amount of traps. We've got the 2 Tachyon Chaos Hold. This card is a fucking house. Absolutely nuts. So if you guys have never seen this card before, the effect reads: when a face-up Galaxy Xyz monster you control is destroyed by battle with an opponent's attacking monster or by an opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard, destroy as many face-up cards your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, banish them. During your draw phase, if this card is in your grave, instead of conducting your normal draw, you can banish this card, then target a Galaxy Xyz monster in your grave, special summon it. So what's cool about this is that it basically acts as a Dark Law. Just plain and simple, it acts as a Dark Law, but in a trap, but in the form of a trap. The only way I would ever the only way I will ever use the second effect is if I know I'm gonna win. If I know that I have game on board, and I want to further my place just a little bit, then yeah, you know what? I will use it. Then yeah, I will use the second effect, but I'm mainly using this card for its first. And then to round up the traps, to round up the main deck, we have the one Shadow Spell, the 1 Fiendish Chain, the 1 Vain Betrayer. These cards are just absolutely nuts. Shadow Spell, basically target one of your opponent's monsters. It loses 700 attack and it can't attack or change its battle mode whenever, as long as the card remains on board. Venus Chain is basically a shadow spell, but instead of losing the attack, it just can't use any of its effects. And then Vain Betrayer is absolutely nutty. And why, you man? You guys are wondering, why is this card good? It's actually it's pretty simple. So its effect reads, when opponent exceeds monsters, declares an attack, activate this card by targeting the attacking monster. It cannot attack. Also, its effects are negated. That's the first effect. Here's the second effect. While that monster is on the field, during each of your opponent's end phases, send the top 3 cards of the opponent's deck to the graveyard. When that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. So what's cool about this is that this card can work well against Xyz's base decks, such as Blue Eyes, Dark Magician. What else? Let's see. I know that the brand new Exorcister archetype does run a bunch of Xyz monsters. So decks like those could work are just a house with this card because it's a way to force deck out your opponent. So if you know that you're gonna win, if you know that you're gonna win the game, this card will just ensure that you do, which is absolutely insane. And then of course we got the 2 Tachyon Transmigration. This is basically Solemn Judgment. But what's interesting about this card is that yes, it's a counter trap, but the effect is absolutely interesting. It's really interesting, but it's so good. If you control a Galaxy Eyes monster, activate as Chainlink 2 or higher, negate the activations of your opponent's spells, spell and trap cards, and monster effects activated before this card in the chain. And if you do, shuffle the negated cards on the field into the deck. If you control a Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon monster, you can activate this card from your hand. So what's cool about this is that if your opponent just combos off and just has like Chainlink has like a Chainlink 7 or something like that, which will give them their board, this card, Tachyon Transmigration, will just ensure that they don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Plain simple. Not much else to say about this card. Moving on now, and that's pretty much it for the main deck. I know that I had the Barry Utopia, but I realized that the Photon that you really don't need all that much protection because of the fact that you got the Tachyon Chaos Hole, you got the Transmigration, you got the 3 continuous traps. So Barry Utopia is not that good in this deck, but as far as the Shark deck, yeah, it's pretty nuts. But moving on into the extra deck, I'm going to go from Lynx to Xyz, mainly because apparently Nexus has this set up by level, unfortunately. So first up, we have the 1 Bujinki Hashima. This card is really cool. It's pretty good, but I'm not too keen on it, if you will. So by the way, shout out to Starbucks. I love their coffee, not sponsored. So its effect reads that it requires 2 monsters with the same level. So obviously, any 2 of the 4-star monsters or the 2 photon tokens can easily give you a Hashima. So its effect reads, cannot be used as link material. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is link summoned, you can special summon 2 monsters with the same level, 1 from your hand and 1 from the grave, but negate their effects, and immediately after this effect resolves, Xyz summon an Xyz monster using those 2 monsters only. So this card basically just helps you go into either Photon Blast Dragon or any of your rank 8s, depending on what you feel like summoning, basically, which is really cool. And then the second effect reads if an Xyz monster this card points to activates an effect by detaching materials, except during the damage step, you can target a spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy. So not only can you so if you were to have, let's say, Cipher Blade Dragon on board, not only could you detach its material to pop one of your opponent's back row, but with Hashima's effect, you can pop another back row right off the bat. So it acts as like, so it basically acts as a, as a twin twister of sorts at the cost of one material. That's it, which is pretty insane. Then of course we got the 2 Galaxy Eye Soul Flare Dragon. This card is just a house. This card, combined with the next Link monster that I'm going to talk about here in a second, is absolutely nuts. So, Soul Flare Dragon's effect reads, if this card is Link summoned, you can target 1 Photon or Galaxy monster in your grave, add it to your hand. During your opponent's main phase, as a quick effect, you can discard 1 Photon card and 1 Galaxy card, or discard Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, then target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls and destroy it. You can only use each effect once per turn. Then, of course, Beauregard Dragon has an effect where it acts as a monster reborn. So Beauregard Dragon's effect reads, cannot be destroyed by card effects. Excuse me. Once per turn, you can send 1 card from your spell trap zone to the grave. Special summon from either grave to your field a monster that was destroyed and sent there this turn, but negates effects. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can target a monster on the field, change it to face-up defense. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect activation. So basically, Soul Flare Dragon pops your opponent's special summon monsters. Beauregard Dragon brings it back, but to your side. Not much else to say about that. There is nothing else to say about that. So in the sense that you already have enough Xyz monsters on board where you could just easily end the game, you can activate Soul Flare Dragon's effect, ditch your Photon Dragon, pop one of your opponent's monsters, activate Beauregard Dragon, send Galaxy Zero to the graveyard, bring that monster back, and then you can go into and then you can link this and let's say two other monsters you may have plus your opponent's monster that was summoned, and you can easily make the next Link monster that I'm going to talk about, which is Access Code Talker. Obviously, if you don't have Access Code Talker, the cards like Avermax, Boral Sword are the next best options for as far as budget wise. Those cards are the next best thing, but Access Code Target is the number one that you need to have. It's a great way to pop your opponent's board really quickly. It's just absolutely nuts. But it's only a last resort if you know that you're gonna lose. If you know that you're gonna lose and you need more time to stall, if you will, then an Access Code Target is the best way to do it. So that's what? 4 pops? 4 pops. 4 pops that they have with Access Code Target, which is absolutely nuts. Then for the Xyz monsters, it's pretty much the same lineup as the last one. We got the Starleash Photon Blast Dragon, absolutely nuts. Basically, once you Xyz summon this card, you can special summon a Photon monster from your hand, which is pretty nuts. And it also has the effect while this card is on the field, your opponent cannot target monster you control with 2,000 or more attack with card effects. So basically, all of your monsters that have 2,000 or more, they can't be targeted, which is absolutely nuts. And not only that, it also has a sort of like a Monster Reborn, different dimension reincarnation effect where you get to detach one of its materials, and if you have a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon that's banished on your grave, you get to summon it, which is really nutty. Then of course we got the Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, which actually has a Solemn Judgment effect, which is really cool. Not much else to say about that. Not much else to say about that. Then, of course, we got the one Tachyon Dragon. Obviously, this card is just an absolute house. Just an absolute house. It's a great way to just Dark Rule no more your opponent's board and just, like, have them not play in Yu-Gi-Oh! We got the Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. Honestly, the card is actually nuts, and I just realized something. Access Code Target doesn't really work with this deck, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out the Access Code, and I'm actually gonna put in the Zeus. And the reason why I'm gonna put in the Zeus is because of the fact that number 38 has the effect where if a spell or an effect is activated on the field, the effect gets negated and it gets attached to number 38 as material, and the more materials it gains, the more board wipes you'll have for Zeus. So that's why I decided to take out the access code and add in the Zeus. So I do apologize for making last minute changes, but still, access code talker in this deck really does nothing, especially if you have four board wipes, 4 like pops. Zeus can just clear the board in one fell swoop. Then of course we got the one Cipher Dragon, basically a snatch steal. Not much else to say about that. We got the number 62. This card just basically ends games, depending on how many Xyz monsters are on board, which is absolutely nuts. Then we got the full armor Photon Dragon and a nice little board wipe. Not much else to say about that. We've got the Cipher Blade Dragon, which is a lot better than Neo Cipher, because Neo Cipher's effect really does nothing, honestly. Which I believe, let's see. This card, let's see here. Neo Galaxy Eye Cipher, rank 9, Light Dragon, 4,500 attack, 3,000 defense. Requires 3 level 9 monsters. If this card has a Cipher card as Xyz material against this effect, once per turn you can detach up to 3 materials from this card. You can, monster you control cannot attack your opponent directly for the rest of the turn except this card. Excuse me. Also, for each material detached, take control of one opponent's face-up monster till the end phase, but while this effect is applied, they have their effects negated, their attack points become 4,500, and their names become Neo Cipher. So, it's not too bad, but Cipher Blade Dragon is better because it's a board wipe. It's basically a board wipe, which is just absolutely nuts. Then, of course, we got the Neo Tachyon. This card can not only can this card negate all other cards on the field, but if you tribute 2 dragons, this card can make 3 attacks during the battle phase, which is absolutely nuts. Then of course we got the Cipher X Dragon. This card basically just helps you go into Cipher Blade Dragon really quickly. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, it would just be 4 pieces of removal, so to speak, which is not too bad. And then of course Zeus is Zeus. Not much else to say about that. Moving on into the side deck, we have to pair off with the Ash Blossom. We have the 2 copies of Ghost Bell and the 2 copies of Ghost Ogre. I've said this before with almost every single one of my deck profiles. Ash Blossom focuses on the deck. Ghost Bell focuses on the graveyard, and Ghost Ogre focuses on the board, which is absolutely nuts. I think the other 3 I think the other 3 are just not like not that good. Honestly, let's see if I can find them. Here we are. Ghost Moore actually has has the effect of dealing damage, and also has the effect Valor effect, which is kind of decent. And then Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood actually has a very interesting effect. Not the best, but it's pretty decent. And then Ghost Reaper has the effect that focuses on the extra deck, mainly for the mirror matches for the most part. So they're not that great, honestly, but these three, Ash, Bell, and Ogre, so much better. Then for the spells, there's only three. We got the one Harpy's Feather Duster, and then the two Shared Ride. Shared Ride basically acts as a Max C for the whole deck because of the fact that Max C is now banned, and I'm pretty sure it will never come off the ban list. This card just gives you more gas in your hand, and the more cards you have in your hand, the more plays you'll be able to make. Just with those cards alone, allowing you to go into your Soulflare Dragon, Beauregard plays, go into your Xyz plays, and you would just easily can have your board right off the bat, which is absolutely nuts. And then for the traps, we've got the second Vain Betrayer, just in case if let's say the Galaxy Trance doesn't work, and you know that your opponent has a good amount of Xyz monsters, then you can definitely side in a second Vain Betrayer. We've got the two Tachyon Spiral Galaxy. This card is absolutely insane. Target one Dragon Galaxy monster control until the end of the turn. It cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, it's unaffected by other card effects except its own. You can only activate one Spiral Galaxy per turn. If you control Tachyon Dragon, you can add this card. You can activate this card from your hand. So basically, it basically acts as a protection for your dragons, which is absolutely nuts. We got the two copies of Zing Zang Hu. This card is just absolutely nutty, absolutely nuts. This basically stops your opponent from using their back row. So it says activate by selecting two set spell or traps on the field. The selected cards cannot be activated. So in a situation where your opponent sets two back row, let's say, once they reach their end phase, you get to flip the sub, target those two back row. They can't be used unless if they have an out to it. They're screwed. Then of course, and then to round up the side deck, we've got the one Judgment of Anubis. This card is absolutely nutty. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of instances where a lot of situations where you're going to be dealing with a lot of back row decks. This card will just ensure that their back row removal gets negated, and you'll be able to not only negate it and destroy it, but also pop one of your opponent's monsters and deal them damage equal to the monster's attack that was currently on the field, which is absolutely nuts. It could be 5,000. It can even win games for all we know. The possibilities are endless. And then we've got the two Solemn Warning to round up the whole deck. Honestly, the deck looks a lot more better than it did last time. So there's not much to say about this, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. If you guys did and you guys want to see more deck profiles in the future, make sure you guys smash the thumbs up button, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. The links will be down in the description below. And if you guys have any fan mail that you guys want to send me and you guys want me to open it up on the channel, all the info will be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.